Well, hello everybody, it's Jackie here and I'm going to have a go at a bit of a tutorial today. I'm going to show you how I made this tag up. I use tags in my junk journals. A few years ago I used to make a lot of mini albums and did a few tutorials with those, different things with those, which are further down my YouTube timeline if anybody's interested. I've only got 10 minutes on this battery or this, I don't know, SD card or whatever it is, so we'll just have to see how we go. And I'm standing up, and I don't usually craft standing up, so again it's a bit of a suck it and see really. Anyway, I start off with I cut my own tags from fairly stiff card, 300-gram card, I'm not sure what that was in pounds, and this is 3 inches by 5 1/4, so it's a little bit bigger than this original one. And I start off by putting some dictionary paper or text paper on it, and the way I do that is a glue stick pretty much all over the surface but not right to the edges, so plenty of glue, but as I say, not right to the edges. Plonk that on, press it down, and then this is the important bit, you need to leave that to dry. So this one I made earlier, so this has dried. I did it in exactly the same way, and then to get the ragged edges I just tear my paper. This is vintage dictionary paper, so it's pretty thin, but probably any book paper would work, and just tear it off like that. And then I've got my base. So to get a good stamping surface, I gesso. So this is white gesso, a little bit on there, not too much, and I'm just going to spread that out with a palette knife. I might use a bit more than that normally, but just for this, and then smooth it out with my fingers. And I probably would put another layer on that, but to save time, because again we need to let that dry, I've done one. And from here on in, it's all live. So let's see how we go. The first thing I would do is stamp my flower. And I've got one of the Tim Holtz wildflowers. And I'm using, is this a Misty tool? It is, isn't it? It's the only one I've got and it's a bit small. Ideally for this size tag I would probably use a bigger tool, Misty, but I can't afford one of those, so anyway. The big advantage of these tools is that you can stamp more than once if you don't get a good impression. So I'm using, what am I using? VersaFine Onyx Black, and we'll press that down, and I think that could do with another, to be a bit blacker, so let's go over it again. Okay, that's pretty good, so we'll take that out, put that to one side. So there's our nice stamped image, and I'm just going to give that a little bit of a blast with this heat tool. Okay. And then at this stage I would add my ticket. I've cut this down from a Tim Holtz ticket, could make your own, and I'm going to do the edges of this and the tag with some black soot distress ink. I think I might have done the original one in vintage photo, but let's do this one in black. Okay, I'm not sure that's quite dry because I think I've smudged it slightly. And then a little bit of glue on here, using Aleene's tacky glue. there. I don't mind that it's covering part of the flower. Probably ideally I wouldn't have done that, but that's okay. So that'll glue on there. And what I would do then, if I was using this for one of my junk journals, I would actually glue it to some coffee stained paper. I don't know if I've got time to do that. I don't want this to appear too rushed, but let's give it a go. Okay. I'm using the glue stick again. This time I'm going fairly close to the edges, but again, I'm not too worried about the edges because I'm going to stitch. I might show you the stitching. I've not stitched I've not stitched standing up before. Could be interesting. Okay. Just cut that out roughly. You can see, you probably saw there that my inking wasn't dry, so normally I would let that dry a little bit longer, but anyway, just going to wipe that. Okay, and for the stitching I've got this mini machine with my heat gun. I have got a big sewing machine, but this one is brilliant just for everyday stuff, and certainly for stitching paper. So I'm just going to go round in a straight stitch, and we'll see how we go standing up. Apologies for the noise. There we go. Oop. Okay, I would then trim off my paper. That's quite a wobbly line. That's the standing up bit for you. So let's trim that off. So then if you did want to use this in the journal, you've got the backing there that you can write on. And then for decoration, at the bottom here, I would just glue on some bits of lace. I think on the original I've got a little tag. Sorry, it's quite difficult to do this and talk at the same time, as I'm finding out. Put a bit more under there. This is Fabri-Tac glue, which is great for all of this stuff. So we can press that on there, and then I've got a little bit of bling. Quite like a bit of sparkle on these tags because they're quite monochromatic. Pop that down there. Can always enhance that with some staples. I'd probably extend this line down with a pen, and then all that's left to do is make your hole at the top. I've got some, sorry, I'm leaning away from the, I've got some sticky reinforcers that just finish off that hole. I've also got one of these punches which does the same job, but then I have to glue it on, which takes a bit longer. Some string for the top, or some lace, or some ribbon. I'll decide on that later. And that's my tag. Perhaps not quite as neat as normal, but I was doing it quite quickly. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.